Welcome to the Solidworks tutorial part 3. In this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate how to create an assembly using the parts that we created in the first two tutorials. So go back into Solidworks again. This time, when we create a new document, instead of creating a part, we're going to go and create an assembly. Select OK. Alright, and to begin an assembly, you need to select a component to insert, and then we're going to place it onto the graphics area. So we're going to browse for a couple different files. The first file that we're going to browse for is the block that we created in the second part of the tutorial. Once you have it, you can click and place it somewhere on the screen. Now, it's actually important to think through which of the parts you want to select first. When you put that part down, that's going to be fixed in space, and it won't be allowed to move. The other parts that you place in will be able to move in relation to it. All right, we are going to insert a few more parts. So we're going to go back to Assembly, Insert Components, and we're going to browse again for, this time, the bolt. So I'm going to select bolt, click Open, and I can place the bolt into the assembly. Now in this case we want to place more than just one bolt. I'm not going to assemble all 10 of them, but let's do how about 3 of them. And I'll show you that instead of just putting one down and having to select it again, if you select the pin up here that says Keep Visible, you can place a few of these bolts. Okay, and then right click, check marks, and says we're done with that. Okay, so this is an assembly. We've put 4 different parts in, and then we're going to go through a process called mating to put them together. So I'm going to select the mate tool, which looks like a paperclip. And I have to think through how I want to mate these things into the holes. I want this cylinder to be inside that cylinder. That's one thing. And I also want, in this case, the head of the bolt, or the bottom of the head of the bolt, to be flush or touching the top of this block. Alright, so we're going to start with the cylinders. I'm going to select the cylinder of this bolt. Select the inside cylinder, kind of make sure it's highlighting the right part. And then when I do that, the SolidWorks already decides what kind of mate it thinks I want. It thinks I want it concentric, which means that those 2 cylinders will be lined up. Alright, I'm going to click check mark. Now you'll just notice, I'm going to get out of the mate feature here. I can still move this bolt around, but I can actually only move it in such a way that it stays, those 2 cylinders stay concentric with each other. Okay, I'm going to go back to mate, and next I'm going to select the bottom face of the bolt, and I'm going to select the top face of the block. And I want them to touch. It is having some sort of a problem right here. Let's see if I can figure this out again. Oh, okay, that's the bolt I want. Alright, the bottom face of that bolt, the top face of that block, there we go. And they're touching each other. Okay, check mark. Now I can go through and do that process with these other bolts. Just to show you, make them concentric. Check mark, bottom face and the top face, coincident, which means touching. And let's do this one in just one of the different holes. There we go. Check mark. Top face, and there. Alright, so that's the basics of doing mates in SolidWorks. There's actually other tools that you can use if I wanted to fill this whole thing up. There is a linear component pattern tool, so I could have put these all in, all 10 of them in at once. And there's other tools as well, but that's the basics of it.